After Kirill Kaprizov's record-setting extension with the Minnesota Wild, how does that affect negotiations with Jason Robertson and the Dallas Stars? And now, is it likely his last season in Big D?
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Kirill Kaprizov got the back. The Minnesota Wild backed up the Brinks truck for an earth-shattering contract extension worth $136 million over 8 years. Yes, $17 million AAV. You heard that correctly. So how does it affect Jason Robertson? These two players, of course, are always going to be linked since their rookie season. They were battling it out for the Calder Trophy. But here we go. The Stars and Robo are not in contract discussions or negotiations as we speak, but this was one of the players we were waiting to fall and see where Robertson could potentially come in. And now it seems like it could be really tough for the Stars to get a deal done. But there's multiple factors that will contribute whether the Stars get this done or not. And you have to also take into account Jason Robertson is a restricted free agent at the end of the season, and maybe the Stars can find a way to get this deal done. But after seeing this, I imagine it makes Jim Nill's job that much harder. Yes, $17 million AAV. And I'll say this off the bat, and I've said this before, Kirill Kaprizov is not worth $17 million to every single team. Minnesota, he certainly is. And they had to up the ante. He turned down, I think, what was $128 million over 8 years, I think was a reported contract, and they had to go up to 136. He had the right leverage. He is worth that amount of money to the Minnesota Wild. He is their superstar. He's their best player probably ever. I think by the end of his career, all said and done, he'll be their best player, depending on how it all shapes out. So Robo is a bit different. Yes. Look, first off, Kaprizov is a better player than Jason Robertson. I think that's fair to say. He's much more dynamic, much better scorer, and he's had some really, really big playoff games, and he's shown up in some big moments. Not that Jason Robertson hasn't, but you just look at the numbers, and I know Robertson has more points at this point in his career, but in all fairness, Robertson at least has been more available than Kirill Kaprizov. Kaprizov has had injury issues. That hasn't really been the case for Jason Robertson throughout most of his career. So he does have that going for him. But the Stars, I don't think are going to, and if I'm Dallas, I'm not giving him more than Mikko Rantanen. And Kaprizov, is he really worth all that much? Because now he's what, 15, 16% of the cap for Minnesota. It's really hard to build a successful team around him. And as many said throughout the last couple of hours when this news broke, he had all the right leverage. The Wild, for the most part, have all their big core locked up. They don't have a lot of deals coming here in the near future they have to really worry about. That's a bit different here in Dallas. So everything was just perfect for Kaprizov to use his leverage and to not give a discount, so to speak, and he reset the market. And of course, it's going to have an effect on every single contract moving forward. Look, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? You still have to wait for Connor McDavid. I know Eichel's a UFA at the end of this year. So what is that all going to look like? And where's Jason Robertson going to fit in? I just have a hard time looking at it realistically, that the Stars are going to be able to sign him to a long-term deal that the Robo camp is going to be okay with, right? And if you're his agent, it'd probably be a disservice not to try to get at least more than Mikko at 12 million. But if you're Dallas, do you really want to go over that number? I don't think so. If you're going to sign him long-term, and yes, I know the cap goes up every so often and every few years, it's always said to increase and rise, but you can't be paying Mikko and Robo $24 million a piece. It just won't work. It's hard to do that. And it's hard to have a competitive team when you pay a handful of guys, 2-3 players, that amount of money. In my opinion, we've seen it done in some other places, and you can be successful, but it is hard to win a Stanley Cup. I think there's always that number that says whatever team's paying an individual more than 13% of the cap hasn't won a Stanley Cup. I think that's whatever to some degree, but it just seems really tough and unrealistic for Dallas and Robo to come to a deal that both are going to agree on. But I will say, if anybody can get it done, it's probably Jim Nill. And you can compare some of the stats. Robo, 394 points in 374 games. And Kirill has 386 points in 319 games. Of course, he's had injuries issues. He missed over half the year last year. The playoff numbers are somewhat similar. And you can look around the league and you can maybe compare him to some players. Like you look at Nylander at 29 as 11.5 million. But again, like Kaprizov has reset this market. And if you're Robo, yes, he may not be a better player than Kirill Kaprizov, but if you're his agent, you're probably going to say, if he's worth that much, I'm at least worth 13, 14, right? 13 and a half. And on the open market, he's probably right. But I don't believe he is with the Dallas Stars. And I don't know how the Stars can look at that. And I'm not going above 11 and a half, if we're being honest. That's where I see Robo fitting in for Dallas. And who knows? Is that even going to be possible still? Because that may come at sacrificing Thomas Harley, who I've been on the record stating I would be sure and make it a priority to sign Harley over Robertson, in my opinion, just based off what we've seen. And, 11 and a half, I feel it seems fair. I just don't think you can pay him more than Rantanen, because Rantanen is a proven star. And we saw it in the spring, like he's a dog come playoff time. And I know he fizzled out a bit, but still, he scored a hat trick in one period to win you a playoff series. Like, I as much as I love Robo, we haven't seen that out of him for the most part. For the most part, outside of when the Stars are down and out in series, and then he finally starts to score a bit. And I know he's hurt for the first series and a half this past season, but I don't see that fit. And now it feels like it's going to be tough for the Stars to get him to stay around. But I am really intrigued by it. I really am. And of course, it's not like McDavid's going to affect Robo that much. It just seems like everything fell into place. There is some interesting quotes from agents here. An Athletic article says, every deal is unique. What's unique about this is that it's obviously a team that doesn't have the same ability to sign players in the market. So keeping their own players is a very high priority for them. There are certain teams that can go into the UFA market and sign players, and they're not really one of them. I think that's a good point, because look at Dallas. They've never really struggled to go out and find players. Whether they have the cash to sign them is one thing, or the space over the last years. But to find talent, to bring guys in, it's never really been an issue. Look at Patrick Sharp, Johnny Oduo from years ago, Dodonov, Marchment, right? The Stars have been able to find pieces. Maybe not high quality ones like Labushkin and Dumba like last season. No shade to Dumba, but you understand the point. And like again, it's the cap. Look, it's going to go up, but boy, it's going to have an impact. And it says, while the circumstances, here's an age, it says, while the circumstances surrounding Kaprizov's contract negotiations were somewhat unique, the fact remains that a $17 million number is now in the marketplace and can't be ignored. Going forward, it will unquestionably have a gravitational effect for star level players. So now it's time for Robo to prove it. And can he do it when it matters most? That seems to be the question still on the table. That may be the difference between him getting a big contract in Dallas. We'll discuss some more of that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put $5 down, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel is so much fun because it allows you to play however you would like to play. You can build parlays, you can do player props, even follow live on the live action as the game unfolds. It makes football more exciting. You get those live lines. It just adds a little pep in your step when you're on the couch watching the NFL on Sundays or college football on Saturdays. You have MLB postseason baseball now in full swing. Whether you're a casual fan or just love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. So this is the part that I really struggle with Jason Robertson. And now that Mikko Rantanen is here, I don't want to say Robo is indispensable because he is a phenomenal player. He is a great left winger, one of the best at his position. But when you go out and get a guy like Rantanen, I just feel like, I feel like you see it. He has another level that Robo has not been able to reach or potentially reach yet. And to have a guy like that locked up for 8 years at the number he's set at, like if you're Jim Nill right now, you're thinking, well, we got a really darn good player for $5 million. Yes. $5 million less a year. Like that looks stinking good on Jim Nill. And Robo has never been that guy come playoff time. He's just never been that guy. He has decent numbers, 44 points in 56 games in his postseason career. If you compare it to Kaprizov, if you just want to do that, 21 points in 25 games, it's 15 goals. Robo has 18 goals in 30 more games. So like Kaprizov, and we've seen it firsthand against Dallas. And to be fair to him, I don't know how healthy he's been for a lot of those playoff games either, which is something that should be factored in. And again, I give Robo some credit there. He's healthy for the most part, except last year he's been around and he's been healthy. But even when he's been healthy, his game does not translate the best to postseason hockey. We've seen it now. We have a pretty decent size sample, and it's not like he's awful and hasn't contributed at points, but he's no Mikko Rantanen. And if he wants to get paid by Dallas or anybody else at a number above even $12 million, he's going to have to go out and prove it. And can he prove it in the postseason? And maybe this is his last chance to do that here in Dallas. And albeit if he goes out and shows us that he's grown and, he's still really young. He's just entering the prime of his career, and maybe he takes the next step and he looks like a guy that can, lead you to playoff victories, can lead you to series wins like we saw Rantanen do against Colorado and, early in that series against Winnipeg, then albeit maybe the Stars have to sort of nut up, right, and pay. But unlike the Kaprizov situation, the Stars have other guys they have to worry about too. And I know there is some years of control when it comes to Harley as a restricted free agent. That all plays in. But I mean, if you're Dallas, you just have to be really, really smart about what you're doing here. Because once again, I think when the Stars signed Rantanen and traded for him back in March of this year, I will say it again, and we'll say it all year, maybe, if we continue to talk about this. They made a pretty I think, conviction behind a decision that we're just going to build around Rantanen because they knew this was coming up. And if we can get Robo, great. But we can't go over this number, and we can't sacrifice a Harley or someone else to sign a player that, I think frankly he's just not worthy of more than $12 million on the Dallas Stars. On the Dallas Stars, at least. Is he worthy on the open market? Sure. Yes, sure. Some team probably would pay him $14 million if they could. But not on the Stars, in my opinion. Not on Dallas. It just can't be done. I'll see how it works if the Stars still want to be as competitive as they want to be. So it just really comes down to that. And again, it may not even be a postseason for Robo. Like, that probably has no effect on it. It's just math at this point. It probably doesn't even matter if Robo goes out and has an incredible postseason. If you're Dallas, you just may have your hands tied. And it doesn't mean you won't sign a shorter term deal, but he already did the franchise a favor, so to speak. He signed a bridge deal a couple years ago for 4 years, and now he probably wants long-term stability. And he wants to be paid what he's worth. And does he deserve a pay raise? Absolutely. Is it going to be more than Mikko Rantanen? I just don't see where that works. You can be like, I have to pay him more than Mikko, just because they're different players, and Mikko's just a little step above, maybe even a bigger step. So Neil's going to have his work cut out for him. And he said he would like to sign him, of course. He's a good player. And I think he's going to contribute significantly to the Stars this season. But sometimes sometimes you have to walk on good players. Again, Kaprizov is worth that to the Minnesota Wild. He is their guy. The Wild are going nowhere without Kaprizov. I hate to say it, but Stars, even without Robo, think will be fine. They would still be a team that has a good core and can be relatively successful. Don't get me wrong, the Stars are not going to be a better team without him, but they're not going to be a better team with him, paying him $12.5, $13 million too. I think both can be true. So it's just fascinating to see this and how it's going to affect him, because once again, if you're his agent, it feels like a disservice if you don't test the market. So I'm really, really curious to see what goes on. Here's another quote from an agent. It says the toughest part about this contract is what might have been for players who signed just before it. Marner, Rantanen, they obviously wanted to go specific places, but if they have gone anywhere, or would they have waited or even signed a 1-year deal? They could have gotten a lot more. Those are the deals that are outliers. That's almost $40 million total less than Kaprizov, regardless of Vegas or Dallas having tax advantages. So the cap system moving forward and the salary arbitration mechanism is going to keep the middle class healthy. But I think the group that's going to be impacted with this redistribution of a team's cap space is probably the lower middle class. So they're saying it could affect, the third line player, the fifth, sixth defenseman as well. So that's a pretty interesting point there from an agent in this athletic article, how it may just not affect superstar players, but even towards the bottom of your lineup. I mean, it gives you less room for error. I feel like if you're a GM too, when you pay Kaprizov, again, he's what, fifth, I think 16% of the team's cap. That's one player. And they're paying Faber quite a bit too. Faber's making more than Miro Heiskanen, right? So Kaprizov next season, $17 million, Faber $8.5. That's what, $24 million between the two. And if you're Dallas right now, you have Rantanen and you have Miro for about $21.5 million. So that's pretty good. So each situation's different, but this could really be Jason Robertson's last year in Big D. So how do you feel about that, Stars fans? Let me know in the comments below. We'll kind of touch on that in just a moment. I hate to even put it in the universe that Jason Robertson's time here with Dallas could be coming to an end, but how I kind of started today's show, I don't see the math. The math isn't really working. And I don't know if it's realistic for Robo or the Stars to come to a compromise that benefits really both guys, essentially. I just don't think it works. And it's not, again, that I don't want Robo to be here. He's not a good player. I think with Rantanen and some of the other moves the Stars have made, they took a big swing to go get him. And he may be sacrificed for it. And I hope that the Stars can work something out. As I stated too, if a GM can find a way, it's probably Jim Nill, and it's something we'll continue to discuss. As I said, I think he's going to play the whole year in Dallas. That's my prediction, because I just think the Stars need him right now, with lack of depth and Ben out. They need him. And he'll have a good season. I truly believe that. It may be a career year for him if he plays with Hintz and Rantanen for an entire season. Really, whoever he plays with, he's going to have a good season here. I truly believe that. But if you're Dallas and you get towards the trade deadline and you don't see a way out, you have to entertain it, right? You have to entertain a trade just to get something for him. If you're another team, I'd be certainly calling. If I'm a team looking for a scoring winger come the trade deadline, if you're Carolina, if you're in New York, whoever in New Jersey, I'd be calling. You can look at the cap situation, look at Dallas, and try to poach and be like, hey, Jim, what do you want? Are you thinking about shopping him? If you're Dallas, you have to look at all options too. If you're Nill, and when we were kind of discussing this more in the summer, you have to be open to all options if you're Dallas. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where you wait too long, or maybe you're Colorado and you move on from a guy and you trade him in the East, and eventually he comes back your way. So Nill and company have to do their due diligence, and however that may transpire could lead to him being shipped off. And look, as much as I hate to say it, if you're Dallas and maybe you bring up this contract negotiation stuff around November, December, and if you find that there is just no way this is going to happen, there's just no wiggle room, then you're going to have to trade him. If you ask me, in my opinion, you have to try to get something back for him. That way you get some pieces, maybe get some young some young talent, some picks too. The Stars could use some draft picks and continue to replenish and do your best to try to find your way without him. But that may not be possible as well if you're Dallas, because let's face it, he's going to be an important part to the Stars. And this sort of goes against the point I just made. If the Stars want to Stanley Cup, they need him to be good, number one, and they just need him. Unless they find a way to go out a piece at the deadline, but that may be really tough with their cap situation. So they're going to need him, and that's why they may just hold on to him and figure it out in the summer. And again, he's a restricted free agent, so there is some wiggle room there. It's not like they have to trade him, but you have to exhaust all options. You have to give everything a look and see what is out there to be beneficial for your team, of course, because the Stars still have this really, really good young core, and they have a chance to win. And Robo's going to be a big part of that, but maybe in the future he's not, because you did go out, you got Ranson in, and Sagan's going to come off the books, so you're going to have some extra cash there to maybe sort of throw around and make this team as deep as possible and as competitive as possible. And you got this new head coach. I'm sure the coach would love to have Robo around for a full season, but it just feels like this is going to be his last year. I still stand on the point he's going to play a full year in Dallas. It just may be the last. So we're going to have to enjoy it and hope for the best, and hope Jim Nill can work that magic he has to find a way to get him to stay. But after Kaprizov and after some other deals that eventually get done, Robo and the agent, they're smart to wait, continue to let the marketplace shake out. And as a lot of the agent quotes that I brought up here, it's going to raise everybody's price. And it may cause Dallas to be out of the market now on Robertson. But you never know. These things are crazy. And look, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the best capologist in the world. Frankly, confuses the heck out of me sometimes. And they always say it's going to increase the cap space, and who knows? Sometimes I just like to react to the news instead of trying to predict numbers and such. But I have an idea of what I think I would give to Robo, and he doesn't like it, then you have to move on. And that's nothing against the player, nothing against the Stars. It's just how it is in the modern NHL. So I just wanted to get on here, have a few thoughts about it, since this record-setting extension was done today by the Wild. Funny thing from Bill Guerin, where he kind of opened the presser with they asked Kaprizov if he was happy, and Bill Guerin said, well, he better be, happy. He took a lot of chunk out of your change, Bill. It's maybe your last contract with your name behind it if things go haywire in the next couple of years. So that's going to do it for today's show. As always, thank you for the love and support. I was a bit scrambly on this one, but wanted to try to throw all my thoughts out there and kind of lay the foundation for what to expect here in the next season, and how this contract affects Robertson and others within the NHL landscape and the marketplace. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe. As always, hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So Stars fans, we'll see you on the next show.